about to go down. Everybody in the place hit the fucking deck, but stay on your motherfucking toes. We running this, let's go.
And we're back.
Hello.
Welcome to I am on a podcast. My name is Kamil Dimek.
I'm Andrew Clemis. I'm feeling a bit sick today.
But you persevered. You're here.
Powering through.
For a new episode of SNL.
Season 44, episode 7, Claire Foy, Anderson Paak.
Yeah, and here on the show, we talk about every new episode of Saturday Night Live. We talk about the host, we talk about the sketches, we kind of review it, we go through the history, and yeah, Claire Foy. So she's like a rising star.
Yeah, I thought she was pretty good. Obviously, Claire Foy from The Crown, and was there promoting First Man, the new Neil Armstrong movie.
I think she was promoting Girl in Spider's Web.
Oh, Girl in the Spider's Web, but she was recently in First Man as well.
First Man, The Crown. There's a Soderbergh film that she's actually really good in. It's called Unsane. I don't know if you heard about that.
She's doing loads now.
She's doing loads. She's like the new British it girl.
Yeah.
Which we definitely got the sense of in the monologue. But let's start from the beginning.
Cold open.
All alone again. No one understands me. Who can I call? Someone who I know will always answer.
Yes, hello? Hello? Michael Cohen speaking. I'll tell you anything you want.
Michael, it's Donald.
No, Mr. Trump, I'm not supposed to be talking to you.
Come on, Michael.
No, I'm gonna get in trouble.
But Mikey Coco, I need a bowl of my Mikey Coco Puffs.
Yeah, the cold open was like another example of like an overly star-studded, unnecessarily long, like just I don't know.
Yeah, I knew you hated it. Like the moment everybody started popping up, and you know what? Why do they have to sing?
I mean, that was all right. I just wish they would have gotten to it a bit sooner. You know, like it's all the kind of weird setup jokes in between where they kind of just repeat what the news is. Like where if Alec Baldwin just goes, you know, and then I flew to Argentina and where he's like giving this inner monologue because he's like basically explaining the news. It's like, if you have to explain what's happened, then maybe it's not worth doing like a sketch about it. And it just drags it out for a really long time because you essentially have to repeat the news to people in like a quasi, not really funny way, and then get to the jokes. And by that time, it's like...
I agree. There's really not much to say. There were like bits of it that I enjoyed, kind of comparing Rudy Giuliani to a bat.
Rudy, where did you come from?
Oh, I was hanging upside down under the balcony to get a little nap.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny. I mean, there's something about Ben Stiller doing
Michael
Cohen, but at the same time, it's what you keep saying. What do you keep saying that like? It's basically just depending on guests, right?
Exactly. Like there's no reason someone in the cast couldn't have done Michael Cohen, but
yeah.
But anyways,
and we had Fred Armisen. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, Fred Armisen. He didn't get as big of a like ovation.
Hey, Vladdy Daddy.
When he came on.
I think people didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the makeup and all that. Although he used to do those type of characters back in the day.
Yeah.
With just kind of like Middle Eastern people, like maybe like some kind of warlords and stuff like that. It was good to see him. But yeah, like you said, not much of a reception there. But yeah, cool. Let's go to the monologue.
I feel so lucky to be here. I really do, especially since I'm not from here. I am a foreigner. And I know, but please don't panic, because I promise I'm only taking the jobs that Americans don't want.
Yeah, the monologue, again, it wasn't really much of a monologue.
No.
A few jokes. It was super short. Basically just, like, introducing who she was and a few, like, British gags, like, so.
Yeah, aren't you a little bit sick of the same joke of British actors taking the jobs of the American ones?
But you can tell they write it last, because it was just, like...
Oh, yeah, obviously.
But the one thing I will say, because I don't want to like trash on her too much, because I thought she was quite good. But as we go through the sketches, she was a pretty good like sketch actor. She's really good at accents.
Yes. I mean, I'm not an expert on accents, but she did a lot.
I mean, given that her natural accent is a British accent, and she did like the Good Morning Guma, where she had kind of like an Italian-American kind of mafioso kind of accent. She did the various types of American accents as well. And then she did like super posh British accent when they were doing the War in the Words sketch. So I thought she was pretty good. And she didn't really break. She kind of like maintained her character for most of it. So I thought she was good.
Yeah, I mean, she was definitely doing the best she could have with, I mean, the writing, which is, again, like the problem here. Because at the end of the day, I mean, she was trying very hard. The sketches weren't funny. I mean, to me, I mean, there's little bits of it, I mean, that I wrote down that, okay, maybe that
there was one that was good for me.
Let's go bit by bit, right? We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
Morning Joe.
Are we living in sin? You want to confess your sins?
Maybe I do. I've had impure thoughts.
Wow. Maybe you need to say 5 Hail Mikas.
With pleasure.
It's funny if you know those people. So if you watch Morning Joe, that show, it is funny. So like, and I do like Kate McKinnon's version of I can't remember her name now. Whatever, the lady host on the show. That is quite funny. I think that's a really good impression.
Don't you think that the whole premise of the sketch, because they've repeated it a couple times already, right?
Yeah.
Alex Moffat and Kate McKinnon doing those characters, but don't you think it's the same premise as the, well, kind of old, but it's still good, the sketch with Chris Kattan and Cheryl Terry, the Zimmermans?
Come on, man, I want to see you want it.
I can feel the burn.
Ooh. I'll tell you something, I want it. Look at you going up and down like that. Look at you going up and down.
You like that, huh? You want to go up?
That.
You want me to go up?
No, I want you to go down.
You want to go down?
I want you to go down.
Maybe I want to go back up again.
No,
huh?
I said go down.
You want to go down?
Ooh,
Maybe I want to go up, huh?
Baby,
Maybe
go
I
down.
want to go up.
I said go down.
I'm going to go back up again.
No, I want you to go down.
They have like a very strong sexual chemistry and then like start getting it on.
I think the difference though is that like these guys are real people and they're like really married or together in real life. So kind of, I don't know. I guess it's maybe funnier for that reason.
Claire Foy didn't have much to do in there.
No, but that was fine.
The War in Words.
That was my favorite one.
My dearest Margaret, I was mad with excitement to receive your letter, though I found it lacking in substance. In future letters, please elaborate, as I long to read your words. Yours faithfully, James.
James. Will do. Love, Margaret.
I thought that was actually quite funny.
That was, yeah. I mean, I think, I don't have an idea for it, but I think like the sketch could have even gone further or something with the concept. But
yeah,
it was
good.
probably the funniest thing because Alex Moffat was not Alex Moffat.
Mikey Day.
Because Mikey Day was I loved his reactions.
He was good. Yeah, he was really good. It was yeah, that was a genuinely good sketch.
Yeah.
And like when Kenan Thompson shows up and stuff, I recommend people watch that one.
Yeah,
that was really funny.
Yeah, the picture and all that. Oh, I hated the Christmas song about the dad.
Oh, the Dad Christmas.
Dad Christmas, he bought you a phone, and when Mom found out, she got crazy pissed off. He should have consulted with her, but he wanted to buy your affection.
That was, I wrote down in my notes when I was watching the show, I was like, that was actually kind of depressing.
It was depressing.
Like, especially at the end, what was the end line on the sketch? Like, oh, and the sad thing is, he really tried. I mean, basically, the premise of the sketch is that it's like divorced parents, and it's the kid's first time going to the dad's house for Christmas, and he's living like this like sad bachelor lifestyle in Florida. But it was like really, it was kind of funny, but at the end you're like, oh, this is a bit grim.
I have a similar observation on something else, like the Weekend Update thing. But it's not the best observation either. It's not the funniest observation that, like, you know, kids go to Christmas to, like,
yeah.
You know, it's like parents
it's a bit
are split up.
now,
It's cliched.
Yeah.
The song wasn't that funny. If there was one semi-good digital short thing, it's probably the Netflix ad.
And in 2019, we'll have even more programming to choose from because we've gone crazy. That's right. We're spending billions of dollars and making every show in the world. Our goal is the endless scroll. By the time you reach the bottom of our menu, there's new shows at the top, and thus the singularity will be achieved.
Yeah, that was funny. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was funny because it's kind of like true as well about the business and that. So, but again, like nothing. The only one that made me like laugh out loud was the Warren.
The war thing, yeah.
Warren
The
Warren's one.
Netflix ad feels like something that you and I could have written, just like
Yeah.
not even being professional comedy writers
Exactly.
or something like that. Everybody makes that joke. Oh, Netflix makes so many shows, right?
Yeah, basically.
And
yeah.
how can we show it in the most ridiculous way, right?
And just come up with funny titles for shows.
Exactly.
What did you think of the Charlie's Grandparents one? The one that went off the rails a little bit. The only one where like Claire Foy kind of broke a little bit.
Yeah, but okay, the Willy Wonka one.
That's
I felt
the Charlie's Grandparents one, yeah.
Yeah, that sketch had potential to turn into something funny, but it went completely the other direction. Because what was the point of it? Like, did they just start banging the bed, and that's it? And then just like, Charlie, look away, Charlie, stir the soup until you fall asleep, and all that. I didn't get it. Like,
I don't know. It's like we've talked about before. It was the same as the Home Shopping Network one with Cecily Strong.
I am a stupid butthole bitch.
Sweetie, I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
If they're in the Uber, maybe we just give him a call.
No, I'm sure he's got him because for some freaking reason I had to open my fat mouth and brag and tell him they were worth over $100,000. Why? Hubris, God, eat my ass to hell.
Where she forgot her stuff, and basically the whole sketch was about how she forgot her things she was meant to sell on the show, and basically she just has like a breakdown.
yeah, but I hated that one as well.
Exactly, because it's like we talked about before. There just isn't those actors that have the force of personality to carry off like the craziness of that.
Oh yeah,
You know, like it was kind of funny, but you're just like, oh, she just didn't have that 110% that you would get from like an Amy Poehler or like a Will Ferrell or someone who would
Maya
just go
Rudolph or someone like that. Yeah, that's true. And then like the sketch also just ends up grown-ups yelling at each other and just like throwing each other like on the
Exactly.
floor, you know. And yeah, so those two sketches were probably the worst for me.
Yeah, no, those weren't great. The Good Morning Guma stuff was actually kind of funny.
And to all the gumads watching at home, welcome to the worst month of the year.
December,
The holidays.
when he has to see the family.
Because Christmas is for the wives. But you know in your heart, he loves you just as much because, say it with me,
You do things his wife would never do.
If you're like a fan of The Sopranos or something like that, it was good.
Yeah, but it also reminded me of that old sketch. You know, was it like the Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph doing the Brooklyn talk show?
Oh yeah, 100%. It was exactly like that. Yeah.
But I think in that one we saw Pete Davidson doing his first kind of character.
Yeah,
finally.
real big breakthrough.
And
for
he
him.
actually tried.
He tried. He didn't break.
He didn't break.
It was good.
That wasn't bad. The Weekend Update, which I thought was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't a great one.
It wasn't a great one, but it didn't hurt me as much as like the one before in terms of the quality of the writing, and like, it seemed like they had fun. Maybe because of there were a couple spontaneous moments, but like what you said about the Christmas ad being kind of sad.
Yeah.
I also felt like Leslie Jones's bit about her quitting sex because no one wants to have sex with a 51-year-old woman.
Retirement from SNL?
No, from sex. My sex days is over!
Wait, what?
I'm throwing in the towel, Colin. I'm 51. No one wants to have sex with an old bitch. Do you want to have sex with an old bitch, Colin? Do you?
Wait, this is not.
Do you, Colin?
This is not the time.
As much as it had funny bits, it was also like...
I liked the Judge Judy joke. That was funny.
Oh, yeah,
From
well,
Michael
yeah,
Che,
I actually laughed when, like...
Michael Che said
Michael
it.
Che mentioned Halle
Yeah.
Berry, and like,
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
like, that was funny, but at first, I felt like even the... Well, first of all, she flopped so many lines in that. Like, she kept, like, stuttering, and she kept, like, reading wrong. And then I felt like for the first half, even the audience wasn't in on a joke, because she just described it so like.
So this is like a weird small thing, but I could tell where the sketch was going, not because it was obvious, but because she came out wearing a t-shirt that had sex written on it with like a red circle and a cross through it, right? As like no sex, right? But you could tell on the cross, the little bit wasn't taped down completely. So you could see that she was eventually at some point going to rip that off and go from having no sex with a cross through it to just sex with a circle around it. So you could see that it was going to come full circle and they were going to convince her, no, you're really beautiful. Like,
dude, good
so
on
because
you.
I saw that, I was like, why is there a little taking? I was like, oh, so she needs something to grab so she can rip it off easily. So I could, whatever, it's a little thing, but.
No, it's a good observation. I didn't notice that.
The other thing that was weird about the Weekend Update was, the Jules bit.
Yeah.
So what's the big general overview of the economy right now?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that, like, growing up, I wasn't like other kids. Like, if other kids were watching cartoons, I was, like, making hats. If that makes sense. So I guess I don't know, I see things a little differently.
What did you think of that?
I don't know.
It was funny, but the thing was, it reminded me just randomly of a College Humor sketch from like years ago called Your Rich Friend That Travels a Lot or something like that. And basically the premise of the sketch is like, that's like a sketch, whereas this was just like a bit on Weekend Update. But the College Humor sketch is like basically the same thing of like this girl coming to visit her friend and talking about all the travels and amazing things she does and just saying weird things like he did. But it turns out she just has like a rich dad and that's why she can do it, right? So it's kind of the same thing, but the College Humor one's way, way better. So
yeah, I feel
anyone
like
wants to listen to that, go listen to College Humor, find it on their YouTube channel, their Rich Friend That Travels a Lot. It's good.
I think it shows that even Beck Bennett is starting to get worried that he might get fired or something because he's really like trying. Like he hasn't done a lot of these Weekend Update character things, right?
No,
it was actually kind of random seeing there, even at the end of the season. Like coming up with a character like that.
And I feel like he kind of threw that one out there. Like, well, I better just try this. Like, I would doubt if that character comes back.
No, definitely not. So all in all, we're still on a low.
Yeah.
As much as like you might giggle here and there after, no one expects Claire Foy to be funny. Clearly, like maybe I wouldn't say comedy is her thing. She was trying really hard.
But she was good at accents, which means she could do a lot more characters. So you could like pitch her different stuff, right? And she committed to them. So I would like to see her back. Like, because I could see her doing, because she has like a wide variety of, like if someone can't pull off an American accent or they can't they forget lines or they don't stay in character, then it's really hard to write stuff for them. But her, you could write pretty much anything, right? So
yeah,
I'd like to see her back. But yeah, she's not like naturally hilarious.
No. I would say that what we have been talking about a little bit, like especially last week with replacing the cast, I feel now I'm convinced that something's coming. Just the vibe, man, like the energy is like low.
I think so.
And then what I've observed more this season from like the other ones, it's just I don't think I've ever seen the cast laugh at their jokes as much as this time. Like sometimes it seems to me like they have to giggle every now and then to just keep the momentum. It's like sometimes it's forced. We got 2 more episodes, right? Before the end of the season.
Do you know who the hosts are for the last 2?
So we got Jason Momoa.
Aquaman,
with Mumford & Sons.
Oh, by the way, we should talk about Anderson Paak quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Musical guest.
I wanted to get that. But coming from that thought, we have a Jason Momoa, right? Which I say right now is going to be a bad episode. It's going to be more of the same.
Yeah.
They're going to make a couple jokes that, like, ladies love him or something like that. Maybe something Game of Thrones, probably like an Aquaman sketch or something.
Yeah, there'll be one, like, decent Aquaman sketch, but the rest will be...
Yeah. And then...
Matt Damon.
This is where I'm interested.
That could be a good one.
And usually the Christmas... episodes are fairly good. Maybe they invite a couple of guests and all that.
Yeah.
And Matt Damon always gives you like a great performance, right? Like he's gonna try.
Yeah.
And I think the season will end on a strong note, but there's gonna be some sort of changes.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if not changes at the end of the year.
Like if we don't see like someone leaving or like getting dropped,
new blood coming in,
then that'd be weird. Okay, but let's go back to Anderson Paak. Cool performance.
Yeah.
We had Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, that was cool.
Anderson Paak is pretty talented. He could, like, man.
It was awesome. It was really cool to see him play the drums and sing and rap.
Yeah.
And like it was just really good performance. The musical bookings this season and the musical performances have been pretty much spot on, with the exception of Kanye and Travis Scott. They've been like really good.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with
probably
that.
the musical performances are stronger than the host and the sketches and all that. Like
100%.
It's a highlight.
Normally, I'm kind of like looking away a little bit when the musical performances happen, but I was really like focusing on him. It was good. Good songs too. Tints and was good.
And what's the other one?
Who Are You?
Who Are You? Okay, is that from a new album or something?
Yeah, I think it's I can't remember what it's called, but he has a new album out.
Okay,
with Kendrick Lamar's featuring on a few songs of the album.
Right.
So.
I was like I mentioned to you that I wanted to talk about Mikey Day, who I wanted to talk about before because I still hope that he's gonna be the person on the show if he has better material.
I looked into him a little bit because I knew some stuff about him, but not as much as I did. And the more I looked into him, the more I think he should be one of the people that stays. Because some of his writing credits, he's written some of the best sketches over the last couple seasons.
Like which ones?
David S. Pumpkins
Nice.
is him and his writing partner. Kevin Roberts, do you remember that one with Larry David, where they're in the shooting range?
Oh,
and he comes out in the orange suit.
Oh yeah, okay.
So he's also apparently was one of the people who wrote the Close Encounters sketch, the original one, because he was a writer on the show before he was.
That's what I found out, that from season 39 he was a writer, then joined as feature player in 42nd one, and then now from the 43rd one till 44th, like he's been a repertory cast member. Groundlings.
Typical,
LA background. I didn't connect the dots, but I saw him years ago in the David Blaine Street Magician YouTube
sketches. Yeah, I saw those earlier today when I was doing some research about him. Those are actually kind of funny.
Oh, I love those. Like when I was young, like because that came out like 10 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And I love those. I used to watch them like separately. That would be great SNL sketch if that was part of it. But that was for the Groundlings, actually. What's your general opinion on him?
I think he's good. I think he's kind of like, how would I describe him? The closest like comparison I would give him is maybe like a Seth Meyers kind of. Like he's not. He seems very like composed. He seems like he could do Weekend Update. Not that I would change the Weekend Update people, but it seems like he could do that. A really good writer, and kind of, doesn't do like big out there characters, but is good at like doing kind of like Seth Meyers was. Seth Meyers wasn't a great like doing these crazy outlandish characters. He was pretty good at just doing like kind of the war in the words thing, where you just have to make like little changes in your voice, little changes in your like intonation to make something funny, and I think he's really good at that, and he's obviously really good at writing sketches as well. So
yeah, I didn't even know like he has such great writing credits, but I keep rooting for him in a way to actually blow up hard. I have like to me like he's got a great just reactions to stuff sometimes, like he has kind of like a little bit of like a weird Jim Carrey manic energy as well, if he wants to. He plays confusion really well. And I mean, although he does like the Trump Brothers with Alex Moffat, I feel like it's cool that his thing is solo. Like whatever he does on the show, that's going to be solo. It's not like Beck Bennett and Kyle Mooney where they kind of like have this weird partnership, but not really. So it'd be like they definitely got to keep him. And he can only get better. There's so much potential in there.
I think they'll definitely keep him around if they make some changes.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to hear a little bit just about kind of going slightly off topic, but kind of you said you saw First Man.
First Man.
the film that, well, I guess she wasn't promoting it, but
Yeah.
the one that Claire Foy was in.
With
What
Claire
did you
Foy.
think of it? Just as a weird side note.
I was a little bit disappointed because I expected more of it. Like, sometimes you watch a trailer and you're like, oh, that's going to get Oscars. That's going to be the movie of the Oscars.
Well, and just quick background for those who don't know. So First Man is like this new movie about Neil Armstrong. Claire Foy plays his wife. And it's by the same director as La La Land and Whiplash.
Damien Chazelle.
Yeah, and this is his third movie. So he's like pretty much 2 for 2.
He's 3 for 3. Like, this is a great film.
Yeah.
Well executed. Strong performances. I mean, I didn't enjoy all the camera work, but I get it because it was one of those like shaky cam things, but it's a very first person kind of perspective on the moon landing and how they got there. It's a tough film because your main character is a kind of like a closed, Neil Armstrong is known as like kind of a closed off, quiet, strong character.
Yeah.
But like he like, as good as Gosling is in the part, like he doesn't get to have like the big speeches, like crying a lot or something like that,
Right.
He just internalizes a lot of things,
Yeah.
Which is good, but also doesn't make for like exciting film, I would say.
So is it like this the opposite of how Apollo 13 approaches like space travel?
Yeah. Because even if they have like moments of tension, obviously Apollo 13, it's all about like, Houston, we have a problem.
And it's like scale and big and everything's like.
This is almost showing a huge thing through like a keyhole or something.
Right.
When they're going into space, you see it from their perspective. You can see and the sound is great. You can see all the. You can see that it's metal and they're just basically in a can, and they're like, you can feel how fragile the whole thing is.
Is there like a dramatic climax like you kind of get in a Apollo 13 style movie where everything, or is it not that kind of like flag waving, nationalistic, the whole world was watching,
I think it's
Go America kind of stuff?
I felt like when the moon landing actually happened, because like the film focuses mainly on how the road there, right? Like what they had to do to achieve it. But once it happens very fast. Like, they just get on the moon, they do their thing. I mean, we all know they're gonna land, right? So the tension is not there, and that's fine. It's very well photographed. But it's just once it happens, it's a bit like, okay, well, that's cool. In a way, it's all in the history books, right?
But so was Apollo 13 as well.
Exactly. Yeah. So both stories are in history books, and yet like they maybe because the moon landing is more known than like the failed moon landing, in terms of that. But going back to Claire Foy, she does she does a lot. I mean, I know like some people said that she was kind of annoying or something, and maybe her accent wasn't as strong in that film. I can't judge that. I mean, to me, she did a lot with kind of the standard like warrior wife kind of part, right? So it's definitely good to see her in films like that,
But you still recommend people see it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay. It's a very strong film. It's just I think everyone watching the trailer and then going into it and expecting a certain thing is going to come back with a little bit of a different experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
All right. So yeah, let's ease up on you, buddy, because
I gotta go home and rest. But don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, review. It really helps. And next week, Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and Mumford & Sons.
Yep. All right.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.